Hey everyone, and welcome to r/AmITheA, the place where we get to judge people absolutely guilt-free, because they literally asked us to. Now, as usual, I have got plenty of interesting dilemmas for you, so let's not waste another second and get straight into this first one by user/Benedict Cumberbunt. I have perfect payment history, and I pride myself on my credit. I have multiple credit cards with 1k to 30k in limit. My wife thinks this means I have that much money in my pocket, and she doesn't understand credit. She sees $2,000 in my savings account and says, "You have $2,000, we can afford XYZ. That, as you well know, is not how money works. She's purchased things with rent money on several occasions, and as a result, I confiscated her debit cards and credit cards that I got her. Any money she gets for Christmas or her birthday is hers to do with as she wishes, but any money I make has to be used on what I think is responsible. She doesn't have a job, she stays home with the kids. If she wants to buy something, she has to ask me for money. So, Reddit, I was told I'm being financially abusive. Am I the butthole?" Yeah, this is an interesting one, because financially abusive is a strong word. I definitely wouldn't say you're being financially abusive, OP. To me, this is more akin to not giving an alcoholic alcohol. Like, your wife clearly has a spending problem, whether because it's lack of understanding or because she just can't control herself with money, and you found a solution. I mean, because it's your life at risk, basically. I want to say not the butthole. It's your livelihood that's on the line. But at the same time, would I say this is the best option? No. So if this is a matter of your wife just not knowing these things, you need to help her learn. You shouldn't keep her in the dark about it. On the other hand, if she can't control herself with her spending, well, that is a problem of another kind. And you still need to see someone who can help your wife get through it and make progress on the issue. Because I mean, just not giving her cards from the money is like a band-aid sort of issue. You're sort of slapping it on, forgetting about it, and really, it won't be good over the long term. And here's the next one, and this one's a good one, by user/Ceiling Fan Floor Tiles. My 37 female, babysitter 16 female, has been babysitting for me for about 2 months. She's a very sweet and quiet girl, and is good with the kids, 4 female and 8 male. We've only had small problems here and there, but nothing major at all. When she first started babysitting for me, I'd asked her if there were any snacks or drinks that she'd like me to keep at the house, as she's here from 9 to 7 every day, Monday through Saturday. She mentioned that she really liked seltzer water, and I had bought them for the first month. But honestly, I forgot after a while, and never kept any in the fridge. A few days ago, I bought hard seltzers for me and my husband, and didn't think anything of it. For those who don't know, hard seltzers is this seltzer's water, but with alcohol. A little bit after 2 p.m, she messaged me that she wasn't feeling well, and thought that she may have to go home. And if it was possible, if I could get off from work earlier. I asked her to try and hold out until the end of the day. Not too long after, she called me crying, saying that something was wrong and she had to go home. She was drunk. Clearly. She drank the hard seltzers. I told her to leave and she walked home. She messaged me the next day and said she now knew that hard seltzers were alcohol and she hadn't known. She never drank before, as both of her parents were alcoholics, and she has diagnosed PTSD regarding alcohol. She never planned on drinking in general. I told her not to come back, as she put my children in danger. She called me crying and saying that she didn't know and that she cared deeply about my children and would never ever drink with them, or at all, and that she needs money to pay for her driver's permit. She comes from a not well-off family. I told her to find a real job and that it wasn't my fault she got drunk. My husband says I'm being very rude and that she did try to reach out when she wasn't feeling well. My kids are upset to see her go. So Reddit, am I the butthole? Well, right guys, so get this. Monday through Saturday, 9 till 7. 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. That's 60 hours a week. Take a guess at how much OP is paying this girl. OP mentions in the comments that she's paying this girl $100 a week for 60 hours worth of work. I mean, if I was in this babysitter's shoes, I would be gone. I'd be out of there. And that isn't even looking at the stuff in the story. That's just clearly this was an accident, and OP, you've just gone and fired this girl for nothing. I mean, what do I even say to this one? Come on, OP basically says it all. There is no explaining that needs to be done on my part. OP, you're the butthole. And, let's see these edits here. Okay, guys, I'm the butthole. I see it now. Thank you. I'll hire her again. I'll pay her $1,500 a week from now on, and pay for her permanent test, as well as her license test. Look, I hope these things are true, and not just OP writing it to make herself look better, because, I have a sneaking suspicion that OP doesn't plan on changing. And here's the next one, by user/Jaya56. My boyfriend's mum makes these amazing cookie bars. She makes them for holidays and family gatherings, and people always request that she bring them. I asked for the recipe once, and she laughed and said no, but it was hers, and she doesn't give it out to anyone. I dropped it and never asked again. I started baking a lot during the pandemic. It's been fun for me in my downtime. I decided with my free time to try and recreate the cookie bars my boyfriend's mum makes. I pulled up recipes that sounded similar from online blogs and started baking and tweaking. It took about 5 recipes in batches, but I finally nailed it down. Her secret recipe ended up essentially being a cookie bar known as Caramelita. I then decided to make it my own and improve it to my tastes. I used high quality chocolate, made sauce with local homemade caramels, used flaky sea salt on top, vanilla bean paste instead of extract, added a pinch of this fantastic organic cinnamon I had on hand. The results were over the top delicious. My boyfriend declared they're better than his mum's, and he finished off half a pan in 2 days. He was FaceTiming with his mum Saturday and eating one. She asked what it was, and he said, "One of your caramel bars." Joe found a recipe online, but made it even better. She lost it. She started yelling about how awful I was for making her cookies and how I had no right. He told me that she was overreacting and quickly ended the call. She started blowing up my phone with nasty texts about what a butthole I am. I explained to her that I found the recipe I used online where it was very public. I'd actually tweaked it to make it more my own, and that I wasn't ever planning on bringing them to an event she's at, so I didn't see what the big deal was. She didn't care. She called me names and told me I was wrong for baking a recipe that I knew was similar to hers. She isn't even speaking to me or her son. While I don't think my boyfriend should have made the comment about how I made it even better to his mum, taking that out of the equation, she thinks I'm a butthole for even making them to begin with. I disagree, but from the text from her and a couple other family members of hers, they think I crossed a line. Am I the butthole for recreating this recipe? Look, OP, you'd be the butthole if you didn't attach the recipe to this post. But luckily, you did. In the description down below, guys, we need to see what these cookies are all about. I mean, OP, you didn't try to show them off at a family gathering. You didn't try to do anything wrong. You just wanted to make an awesome cookies. Come on, if you've got an awesome recipe, you just gotta spread that love. Spread the awesomeness of that food so everyone gets to experience it. I mean, I guess it's nice to have your own sort of trademark recipes that are really yours. But at the same time, if someone knows this is your recipe, they're not gonna steal it. Most people respect that. So, OP, I don't know what you should be doing. You're not the butthole. Maybe wait it out and your boyfriend's mum will calm down. Just gotta hope for the best. And here's the next one by user/InfiniteLight5425. I had some friends over, one male with his wife, the other 3 female. One of the females, we'll call Jane, had a baby 2 months ago, and this is the first time that we've seen her. She was away at families when she had her baby, so this was a small, unplanned baby shower for her. After an hour or so, her baby got fussy, and she started breastfeeding her baby. One of her friends, we'll call her RB, Rude B, started looking upset and asked, Don't you think she should cover up, especially since there's a man here? We all just kind of looked at her. My male friend said it's okay, his wife breastfeeds. And his wife nods her head. Well, this upset Rude Bee, and she looked towards me and said to get a blanket. So I got her one, and she said, no, it's to cover up with. So I did as she asked, and opened up the blanket, all the while all the other people were giving me a strange look, and I covered Rude Bee's head and sat back down. Rude Bee got mad and took it off and said, no, that Jane needs to cover up, and I said, what for? Rude Bee gets up and tries to put the blanket on Jane. I finally had enough and said if she doesn't like seeing someone breastfeed, then she can either look away or leave. Yeah, she got mad, saying how I'm choosing Jane over her and that she's known me for longer. I also told her that she knows what a pain it is trying to cover up a breast in a screaming, wiggling baby's mouth, so have a nice day. So yeah, she's mad at me, but the rest of us had a good time visiting. So, was I the butthole maybe for putting the blanket on Rude Bee's head? And as I say very often, of course you were the butthole OP. You were totally the butthole, but were you justified? Oh yeah, totally. Like, your friend was being a jerk. I mean, it's something that must have made her uncomfortable, so I can sort of understand it from that perspective. But also, if it made her uncomfortable, she could have looked away. Like, honestly, it's not a big deal. And here's the next one by user/let's make some drinks. My son, 22 male, and his girlfriend April, 22 female, live with us. My daughter, 24 female, moved out but visits often. The other day was my daughter's birthday, and she came over for dinner. We ordered takeout, watched a movie, had a good time. She also wanted to make these drinks she found online. Here's the issue, April doesn't drink. Her died due to an alcohol-related disease, and it scares her. I completely get it, but it's my daughter's birthday. She didn't have to drink. We had alternatives, and this is just what myself, my daughter, daughter's fiancé, and my husband were doing. Well, this bothered April. We weren't getting drunk, just sipping on the deck and having a good time. My son pulled me aside and said we should stop. I said, no, it was his sister's birthday, and while I feel for April, she can't control who drinks and who doesn't. My son got even more aggravated, and he and April spent the rest of their night in their room. The next day, April texted my daughter, saying if you need alcohol to have fun, you have a problem. My daughter just sent an eye roll emoji back. I told April to mind her own business and that she doesn't have to drink, but she can't control others. She got really upset and said we made her uncomfortable. I said alcohol exists, and if she's that bothered by it, she needs some help. My son feels I crossed the line. My husband thinks I shouldn't have said that either. I do feel bad, but I won't be preached at in my own house. Am I a butthole? And I mean, this one, it's a tough one to judge, because I mean, I guess we all feel for April. You don't want to make anyone uncomfortable, but at the same time, the whole world isn't going to go alcohol-free. I mean, what's April going to do if she's out with friends and someone gets a drink? Or maybe if she's at a work function and there are people drinking there. I mean, April can't avoid alcohol for life. And I mean, OP, I'm saying not the butthole to you. You had every right to drink in your own home. But April does need to get help to get over this, that she can accept that people drink alcohol and people do drink. I don't know if you're the right person to help her, but maybe you can get your son onto it and he can help her. Honestly, an actual interesting one this one was. But let's move on to the next one. This one by user/AXV368. My wife and I have 3 sons. They're 25, 23, and 18. My wife and I have always had good jobs, and we always agreed we'd be funding most, if not all, of our children's college. So we had money saved for this purpose in our savings account. The older 2 went to the same private college I went to. It cost a lot of money, but my inheritance and our savings helped greatly. Our eldest is now pursuing a PhD program that is funded by the school. A year and a half ago, our middle child was diagnosed with a very serious illness. Even with insurance, we're currently $160,000 in debt. Then the virus happened, and my wife lost her job, and my income has been severely reduced. And as much as it pained us, we had to use up our savings just to keep us afloat. The bills are still piling up, and every single penny coming into the household is going right back out. This included the money we intended for our youngest college. My wife did a lot of legwork and was able to get our youngest child a nearly full tuition scholarship to our state school. He'd be able to attend from home. But our youngest wants to go to the same private college, even though we've tried telling him the reality of our finances for half a year now. As a last resort, we looked into loans, but we were rejected due to our current debt. We can't even sell our home and downsize because the house market has tanked where we live. And more importantly, our son is severely immunocompromised, so moving around isn't the best idea. Our youngest became extremely hurtful to us, and we found out that he's been blaming his brother to his face, but he can't go to his dream college because of him. My wife and I ended up putting our foot down and said we're sorry, but sometimes a family member needs more help at specific times in their lives. Then we told our youngest that in a few years, if we've recovered financially, we'll pay his grad school in any school he wants. But we couldn't promise him outright because none of us know what the future holds. Our youngest has confirmed his acceptance to the state school, which is an excellent school, but has now completely cut himself off from the rest of us at home. He hasn't talked to us in a month now. My wife and I are heartbroken. We can't even afford any sort of family counselling. Our middle son is extremely upset as well, but that's guilt he shouldn't be shouldering. I've just been feeling like a failure as a parent. Am I the butthole? Yeah, OP, I'm gonna go with not the butthole. Actually, the vote Reddit gave was no buttholes here, and I mean, I sort of understand where people are coming from. I mean, OP, definitely not the butthole. Like, life happens. You know, you can't do everything that you've planned, and sometimes things just don't go your way. But I think that your son is being unreasonable. Like, I mean, sure, at 18, you won't fully understand, but you should be old enough and mature enough to understand a situation like this one. I mean, the younger son should understand that his parents aren't being spiteful or somehow trying to disadvantage him. Like, they just cannot go through with this. And I mean, the part that really makes me say that the youngest son is the butthole is that he started insulting the middle child to his face. Like, come on, that's just unacceptable. I mean, on a more positive note, one of the comments does suggest talking to the actual school admission board, because this family has 3 full fee-paying alumni. One is a PhD candidate. Sometimes colleges will offer some very good financial aid in situations like this one if they want OP and their family to keep going to the school. So that's something definitely worth a shot, but yeah, there are definitely options and not the butthole OP. And guys, I think this post is going to be the last one for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel for Reddit videos every second day. Now, with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. That's it from me. I hope you all enjoyed, and all I want to do is see you all here next time. See you later, guys.